Did you know that by some estimates, over 60% of today's jobs could look fundamentally different within the next decade? That is not a small adjustment. It is a seismic shift in the very structure of our professional lives. This transformation is being driven, in large part, by the rapid expansion of the gig economy. Many of us now interact with it daily, whether we realize it or not. We summon rides, order meals, hire specialized freelancers through digital platforms. This new model of employment is reshaping career paths, challenging traditional notions of the workplace, and forcing us to reconsider what it means to have a job in the 21st century. The numbers are too significant to ignore, signaling a clear departure from the 9-to-5 structure that defined work for generations. So, what exactly is the gig economy? In one clear sentence, the gig economy is a labor market characterized by short-term contracts, freelance work, rather than permanent jobs. Think of it not as a single, lifelong career ladder, but as a portfolio of projects, tasks, temporary assignments. People engaged in this work are typically classified as independent contractors, operating with a degree of autonomy but outside the protective umbrella of traditional employment. This model relies heavily on technology platforms, apps, and websites that act as digital intermediaries, efficiently connecting service providers with a vast pool of customers. It represents a fundamental rethinking of the relationship between a company and the people who perform its work. To make this concept tangible, consider 3 common examples of gig jobs that have become woven into the fabric of modern life. Ride-hailing driver, an individual who uses their personal vehicle to transport passengers on demand through an app like Uber or Lyft. Food delivery courier, who navigates city streets to bring restaurant meals directly to customers' doorsteps for services such as DoorDash or Grubhub. Online freelancer, graphic designers, writers, programmers, consultants. Each of these roles embodies the core principle of gig work, task-oriented, temporary, and often mediated by technology. They represent a move away from the long-term, single-employer model and toward a more fluid, transactional form of labor. This shift is not just a passing trend. It is a structural change with profound implications for workers, businesses, and society as a whole. Understanding its mechanics is the first step toward navigating its complexities and harnessing its potential for good. The reality is that this model is growing and its influence is expanding into ever more sophisticated professional domains, compelling us all to adapt to a new employment landscape. For the individual worker, the appeal of the gig economy often boils down to 2 powerful benefits: flexibility, supplemental income. First and foremost, the promise of autonomy is a significant draw. Gig work allows people to become the architects of their own schedules, giving them the freedom to decide when they work, where they work, how much they work. This flexibility can be a game changer for parents balancing childcare responsibilities, students juggling classes, artists pursuing a creative passion, semi-retired individuals seeking engagement. It empowers them to fit work around their lives, rather than structuring their lives around work. The second major benefit is the opportunity to generate extra income on demand. In an era of wage stagnation and rising living costs, the ability to quickly monetize free time or a specific skill can provide a crucial financial buffer. For some, a gig job is the side hustle that makes it possible to pay off student loans, save for a down payment, cover an unexpected expense. For others, it serves as a transitional bridge during periods of unemployment, offering a way to earn money while searching for a more permanent role. This low barrier to entry provides a sense of financial agency. However, this newfound freedom comes with significant and often understated risks. The most glaring drawback is the conspicuous absence of a social safety net. Independent contractors are often not entitled to benefits. This means no health insurance, no paid sick leave, no vacation days, no retirement contributions. When a gig worker falls ill, needs to care for a family member, or wants to take a break, their income immediately drops to zero. This precariousness creates a fragile existence where a single medical emergency or a slow work period can precipitate a financial crisis. Compounding this instability is the inherent volatility of the income stream itself. Unlike a salaried employee who receives a predictable paycheck every 2 weeks, a gig worker's earnings can fluctuate dramatically from one week to the next. Demand for their services can be seasonal, dependent on unpredictable events, subject to changes in a platform's algorithm. This makes financial planning incredibly difficult. Budgeting for rent, utilities, other fixed expenses becomes a constant source of anxiety when your income is a moving target. This lack of predictability and security is the hidden price of flexibility, a trade-off that many workers make out of necessity rather than genuine preference, leaving them perpetually vulnerable. From the perspective of companies, embracing the gig economy model presents a compelling financial and operational advantage. The most significant impact is a dramatic reduction in labor-related costs, payroll taxes, unemployment insurance, workers' compensation, healthcare, retirement plans. This lean operational structure allows companies, particularly startups in the tech sector, to scale their workforce up or down with incredible speed in response to market demand. This agility provides a powerful competitive edge, enabling rapid growth without the long-term financial commitments and overhead associated with a traditional workforce. Beyond the direct cost savings, the gig model offers companies access to a vast and diverse talent pool on a project-by-project basis. Instead of hiring a full-time expert whose skills may only be needed for a specific phase of a project, a business can engage a specialist freelancer for a defined period. Software development, digital marketing, legal consulting. It fosters innovation by bringing in fresh perspectives and cutting-edge skills for short-term initiatives, enhancing a company's ability to adapt and execute complex projects with greater efficiency and a nimbler organizational structure. However, this model is not without significant challenges for employers. Large workforce, distributed workforce, transient workforce requires a complete rethinking of traditional management practices. The tools and communication styles designed for a co-located, permanent team are often inadequate for overseeing a fleet of independent contractors. Onboarding, payment processing, performance tracking, communication. Building a consistent organizational culture and ensuring quality standards becomes far more difficult when the workforce is fragmented and lacks a long-term connection to the company's mission and values. Businesses that rely heavily on gig workers are navigating an increasingly complex and contentious legal and regulatory landscape. Around the world, lawmakers and courts are scrutinizing the classification of gig workers, with many jurisdictions pushing for new regulations to grant them rights and protections similar to employees. This creates a climate of uncertainty. A single court ruling or piece of legislation could fundamentally disrupt a company's business model, forcing reclassification and massive new costs. Companies must dedicate significant resources to legal compliance and public affairs, constantly adapting to a shifting legal terrain and managing reputational risks associated with labor controversies. Section 4. Navigating the future, building a better gig economy. Looking ahead to the next 10 years, technology policy shifting workplace norms. Technology will continue to be a primary driver of change. We can expect the emergence of more sophisticated AI-powered platforms, tools for career development benefits, administration, financial planning tailored to independent work. These platforms may create more stable ecosystems for freelancers, offering portable benefits that follow the worker from gig to gig. This technological layer will become crucial in creating a more organized and supportive infrastructure. Simultaneously, government policy is poised to play a transformative role. The debate over worker classification is far from over. We may see new legal categories between employee and independent contractor. This third way could mandate certain protections, such as a minimum earnings floor, accident insurance, access to retirement savings plans, all without imposing the full costs of traditional employment. As hybrid work models become the norm for knowledge workers, the line between employee and freelancer will continue to blur. Companies will develop more inclusive policies that extend certain perks and development opportunities to contract workers to ensure retention and quality. So, what should workers do now to prepare for this evolving landscape? The most critical action is to proactively build a personal safety net. Treat your career like a small business. diligently saving a portion of every payment to create an emergency fund, investigating private options for health and disability insurance, and consistently contributing to a retirement account. It is also essential to become a lifelong learner, constantly upskilling to remain competitive and command higher rates. Workers should seek clear written contracts for every project, and where possible, join professional associations or worker collectives that can provide advocacy, resources, and community. Companies, in turn, have a responsibility to act with foresight and integrity. The most successful businesses will move beyond purely transactional relationships with gig workers, establish clear, transparent, and timely payment systems, and provide channels for feedback and dispute resolution. Forward-thinking companies will invest in freelance talent by offering access to training resources, performance-based bonuses. Treat your best contractors as strategic partners, not disposable commodities. By building a reputation for fairness and respect, companies can attract and retain top talent, creating a competitive advantage that is sustainable and ethical in the long run. Section 5. A call for collaborative action. The gig economy is neither a utopia of entrepreneurial freedom, nor a dystopia of worker exploitation. It is a complex and powerful tool, one whose ultimate impact depends entirely on how we choose to shape it. For some, it has unlocked unprecedented flexibility and provided a vital economic lifeline. For others, it has introduced profound instability and stripped away fundamental protections that took decades to secure. The future of work will not be a binary choice between steady jobs and gig work. It will be a dynamic blend of both. The organizations and individuals who will thrive are those who recognize this reality and prepare for it with intention and intelligence. Therefore, the time to act is now. If you are a worker, or might become one, in this new economy, your task is to build resilience. Do not wait for a safety net to be provided for you. Start weaving one for yourself. Diversify your skills. Save diligently. Connect with other workers to share knowledge and advocate for better conditions. If you are a business leader, your challenge is to build a more human-centered platform. Look beyond the short-term cost savings and consider the long-term value of a stable, motivated, and respected workforce. Innovate not just in your technology, but also in your approach to labor, creating fair systems that offer clarity and opportunity. The gig economy is here to stay. Let's work together to ensure it works for people, not against them.